Hello, YouTube world. Thanks for checking in the Khaliis Take. It's your first time to the channel. Please like, subscribe. Please also leave any comments. Also hit the notification bell so you can get my future content first. But if you have a chance, also check out my other prior videos of this one. I think you'll like the content, and I think you'll find something intriguing that'll make you want to come back and join the Khaliis Take community. Now let's just go ahead and jump right into the video. So, in this topic today, we're going to be talking about how bad are the Los Angeles Clippers? Now, before, I really jump into it, I'm just going to say this. Yesterday's game versus the Bucks, we really saw what we saw last year in the bubble. Yesterday's game versus the Bucks, we really saw, a team who, how should I say it? We saw a team who was good. We saw a team who can be a good team, but we also saw a team that could be vulnerable. And vulnerability is something that the Clippers have to overcome, because if they don't find ways to overcome this, you're going to see them just flail. Basically flail, like as in, clips like this one here that you see. See what I'm talking about? They just don't even look like a team that belongs where they are. They look like a team that's lost at certain times. They look like a team that's just not going to get ahead in the playoffs as a lot of people expect them to, or should I say as they should. But at the same time, when you think about that in its entirety, what type of team do they really have? They have a team without a point guard with one superstar and one really, really good all-star. I'll say that. So when you have that on a team, your continuity is not going to be that good. It's not going to be as great as it would be if you had a point guard to actually, not only keep the offense going, but get everybody in their sets the way they like it, and exactly where they need it to be more effective. Like, let's just hypothetically say they had the likes of Kyle Lowry, like I said on one of my previous videos, or maybe even a George Hill or Ricky Rubio, somebody like that, somebody who the defense respects. See, the problem with the Clippers is two things. Paul George is number one. I think he does too much talking rather than actually going out there playing. Because like I said, you do great in the regular season, but like I said, at this point, nobody cares about the regular season. Everybody wants to see what you do in the playoffs. Because playoff P, way off P, whatever you want to call them, both names are no good. So either way, that's an X right there. So don't even have to worry about that. And then on top of that, you sit there and look at the point guard position. I think that's a really huge thing, because every good team that you look at in the NBA currently constructed right now has at least a decent point guard to a great point guard. And the Clippers really have no point guard. I mean, Patrick Beverley, he can knock down some shots and he'll play a little bit of rough tussle defense. But at the same time, it's not good enough for them to get over the hump. They need a quarterback at the position to basically put everybody in position where they're supposed to be and run the sets and run the plays that they're supposed to, so they can execute the plan and win these games that they're supposed to win. Because yesterday, technically, the Bucks are not a bad team, but at the same time, that's a team that should beat. They only have Giannis, and Giannis is not a shooter. He doesn't knock down threes. He's not a three-point marksman. Only thing he does is dunk. So when you have a player, the only thing he does is dunk, you should beat them, because you have two so-called superstars. Now, I will say this, Kawhi Leonard is a certified superstar because he's won 2 championships in this league, 2-time MVP, 2-time Defensive Player of the Year, made All-NBA team 3 times. Kawhi has proven himself. He's proven himself to be a championship player, because that's what he is. The only thing he does usually out his career, for the most part, is win. I mean, the guy has the highest winning percentage of any NBA player currently playing. So, I mean, just what he does, he loves to win. So, PG, on the other hand, very questionable. Like I said, he's always been a loser to me, personally. And I really think the biggest mistake Kawhi ever made was choosing him over the Lakers. Hopefully, Kawhi changes that thought after a while, and that becomes an afterthought to him. And he wakes up and comes to his senses and hopefully go to the Lakers. That'd probably be his best chance of actually, winning a couple more championships. And, for the simple fact that, he trained a lot with Kobe Bryant before Kobe passed and everything. I think one of Kobe's thoughts would have liked to seen Kawhi on the Lakers in a Lakers jersey. I don't think Kobe would have been opposed to it, especially since he trained Kawhi and he actually liked Kawhi as a person from what the media has put out and from what Kobe has said and everything. So I think that would be a good fit for him. But that's left for another day. But at the same time, like I said, when you don't have a point guard, a legitimate point guard that the defense respects, you cannot be looked at as a great team. You could be looked at as a good team because the Clippers are a good team. They got two star players, two wing players that have great defense, and both can actually make a lot of great things happen. But at the same time, when you don't have that point guard to get everybody in the position that they need to be in, you're not going to excel as a team. You're not going to do the things you're supposed to do. And what they were supposed to do yesterday was go out there and beat down some Bucks and make them pay, and let them know that, hey, you know what I'm saying? We're the better team. And see, but that didn't happen because, like I said, the lack of ability, or not the lack of ability, but the lack of not having a point guard, the lack of not having the necessary pieces around you that will put you in a better position was the reason why they lose games like they lost yesterday. And the reason why they lost games that they lost against the Denver Nuggets in the bubble last year, because you don't have the one position that needs to be filled. It's not filled. Now, I will say this, they can use another big man or something like that in the paint, clog up the middle, give them a little bit more defense, maybe get a few more extra rebounds. That would be definitely great for them as well. But the main point at hand is what everybody has pretty much been saying about the Clippers for at least a year now. You need a solidified point guard. Patrick Beverley is just not somebody we respect. Patrick Beverley is not somebody we preferably give a damn about. Personally, I think Pat Beverley is, he'll be good for a team like the Pistons or, maybe a team like, I don't know, maybe like even a Toronto, a team like that. Put him on a team like that, he might excel a little bit, but even then, I still think he's, predominantly trash. I'm not really a big fan of his myself. I mean, he makes some big shots here and there, but not really a point guard of my caliber or what I would think a point guard should represent, but it's okay. Like I said, if the Clippers don't make this issue profound, if they don't tell each other what the problem is, if they don't address this issue enough in the locker room and in the main office or in their main offices, they're going to continue to struggle in games like this. You're going to continue to see the Clippers have games like they had yesterday against the Bucks, where the last 4 or 5 minutes, they pretty much don't even score. But the reason why they don't score is because, like I said, no solidified point guard. It's all discombobulated after a while. And see, the problem with them, the problem that they have is because they don't have that point guard, they don't have like a third person who can knock down shots that they trust. See, if you had maybe a Kyle Lowry or maybe a George Hill, somebody like that, at least you have somebody on there that, okay, if they double team Kawhi, if Kawhi's in his set, get ready to do the turnaround fadeaway, they double team him. Kawhi mentally can trust George Hill to knock down that three or that wide open shot because he's getting double teamed. Or Paul George could do the same thing. You see that, and that's what I'm talking about. When you have that third player, which is your point guard, sometimes he's number one player, but if you had that third player in your point guard, their offense would run a lot more smoother, and they would be more unbeatable. But the fact that they don't have that, you see games like yesterday where they struggle. And to really, answer the question in its entirety, how bad are the Clippers? I would say they're bad because it's championship or bust for the Clippers. It's nothing else. And if you look at this team right now, and I'm not going to really harp on one game specifically against the Bucks, but I've seen them have games like this earlier this season. They just luckily came out and won those games because the other team either shot so poor or the other team just couldn't make shots, or however you want to look at it. But there's been other games this year, last year, especially the bubble. I mean, it's a continuous thing with them. And I don't know if it's just this organization because they're a cursed organization. I'm just really not sure. But I will say this. If Kawhi Leonard can actually help this team win a championship as constructed, I would say Kawhi Leonard might be the best player in the NBA if he can do that. Because I just don't see this team's overall mental toughness in games when it comes down to the wire, making the necessary plays they need to do to win. Like yesterday, to me, when I looked at the game, Paul George took at least 3 or 4 shots that was ill-advised that I didn't think he should have took. it really hurt the team's success as far as winning the game. I thought Kawhi got a little cold there at the end, but to me, I saw earlier in the quarter, Kawhi hit the first 2 shots when he came out, and I thought they should have kept going to him, but they stopped going to him, and PG, he thinks he's the #1 player as well, just because he got paid that max money, and he goes out there and takes 2 shots, like 2 threes, I think, over Giannis, which I knew neither one of them were going in. First of all, Giannis is got like a 7'5" wingspan. Like, you're not going to shoot over Giannis like that. So first of all, if you're not going to drive to the basket, maybe try to draw a foul, or maybe kick it out to the likes of Marcus Morris or somebody that's wide open, or just get a better high percentage shot. If you're not trying to do that, then you're definitely going to lose that game, in which they did. And that's what I'm saying. If they had that point guard, that wouldn't have probably happened, because Kyle Lowry, what he probably would have did was he probably would have drove into the teeth of the defense and kicked it out to either Kawhi or Paul George for a wide open shot and get them a better look, which is something that both of them can knock down wide open three if given to. So this is what I'm saying. Little things like that, intangibles like that, go a long way when you're trying to win championships. And, Kawhi knows that, but the problem is Kawhi can't teach everybody else on that team that, besides maybe Serge Ibaka, of course. Serge Ibaka won a championship with Kawhi, so I would definitely say he knows. But besides those 2 players on there, nobody on there has a championship. And I'm not even sure many players on there have even been to a finals on the Clippers. So what I'm saying is you have a team with a bunch of guys who don't have the experience and the championship knowledge that Kawhi and Ibaka has. Now, hopefully they can spread their mentality and, put it into the DNA of the other players there, because they're going to need that going forward, and they're going to need that point guard play. So, like I said, as of right now, I would say the Clippers are a bad team, because to me, it's championship or bust. And I'm not really counting the fact that they're a good team in the regular season, because, yeah, they're a good team in the regular season, but we don't care about the regular season. We care about the playoffs. And the way they're currently constructed now is bad. It's a bad team for the playoffs, because they have to play a team in a 7-game series. It's going to look exactly like it did last year. You barely got past the Mavericks. If it wasn't for, I think, Porzingis going down, and then you get to a team like the Nuggets that you clearly should have beaten, that you didn't, because the overall mental toughness, the wear and tear, the fatigue, and the fact you don't have a point guard that really actually knows how to play the game to a higher level than Patrick Beverley, well, you're probably going to actually falter the same way you did last year in the playoffs, because you don't have the necessary piece or pieces you need to get you over the hump. So in my estimation, I would say right now, currently constructed, I would say they're a bad team, just because this team that they have right now is not built for the playoffs. They can win some good games. They can go out here and, they can, win some big games on some nights, you know what I'm saying? Because they have it going. But can you do that seven times? Can you do that 4 times in a 7-game series? Can you continuously do that all the way to the finals? I don't think so. And like I said, running into the Lakers or a team with that caliber, with a big man in the middle who could just drop points like it's easily, the Clippers are going to be in trouble, because not only they don't have a big man in the middle, but you don't have the extra scoring that you would get to get better offensive plays from that point guard that can offset what the other team is doing. And see, those are things that goes a long way when you're trying to win a championship. Ask Kawhi Leonard, ask Serge Ibaka, hey, even ask Ty Lue, he knows. So what I'm saying is, because they know what the issue is, they better address it soon, because if they don't, they'll find themselves in the same situation they were in last year. And if you choke twice, well, it's going to be really hard to get that off your resume, even if you're Kawhi Leonard, because that'll be 2 chokes and 2 championships. So you won 2 championships, but you choked twice with the Clippers. Not saying he won't be a top 50 player of all time. Not saying he won't make the Hall of Fame, but you want to talk about a tarnish on somebody's legacy, it really wouldn't be good. And I know it would be Paul George's fault, the reason why, probably because he just doesn't show up in the playoffs. But at the same time, people are only going to say, well, Kawhi Leonard, you picked Paul George. Nobody told you to go pick him. Nobody told you to go to the Clippers. You could have went to the Lakers and you'd be winning championships. But I will say this, I give Kawhi Leonard credit for not wanting to join up and make a super team. He want to actually be considered one of the best players himself and try to go out there and win it on his own, with his own team, on his own rights. So I definitely got to give Kawhi credit for that. And, shout out to him for that. But at the same time, they better make their issues known, and they better make sure they get them fixed. Because if they don't, I promise you, a reenactment of last year is definitely just something that we'll just be waiting to happen. And that'll definitely be the end of the Clippers. So, hey, if you like this video, please like, subscribe. Like I said earlier, leave any comments. Please leave some comments in the comment section. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you like the video. Let me know if you like my take on it. Hey, let me know your take on it. Let me know what you think. But as of right now, hey, till next time.